progress.
I think that was pretty good. I would say microsecond too early.
Okay.
Do you, Helen Jean-Pierre, do you hear recording?
Just a smidge early, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a game that we play, Helen.
Right.
Not a very good game, but
when I say we, I mean Dave and I.
Not very good, but I am awesome.
The game.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's our last week of October, and we're doing our Halloween special.
Halloween for Halloween. Halloween for Halloween.
Obviously. And we've got JP with us, but we also have Helen. Welcome to our nonsense.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us to our nonsense. Yeah, we did the original Halloween, so the 1978 Halloween. And it got to the point. So I only watched it last. I mean, obviously, like I've seen it many times before. I worked out that I've seen almost every movie in the Halloween franchise. I forgot it's very good. I just think the first one's very good, guys. Like I know we'll get into it, but it's just, and I don't know if you're making that face, Karen, because you don't think it's very good. But all I'm saying is, have you seen the rest of the Halloween franchise?
I have not seen.
I have not seen the rest of them. I had seen this one before. I actually realized when we went to watch it that I had seen it quite recently. I think I've seen it this year, certainly.
We didn't watch it, did we? I was trying to work it out, but then I was thinking, I think potentially I saw it on the big screen, and I think maybe I saw it at the end of last year when they were then. When was the? Do you know? So. Halloween, right? No, what's the new one that's coming out? Halloween Kills. That's coming out like now. So I'm seeing that on the weekend.
Halloween.
Whatever the previous Halloween, I think the remake was just called Halloween. I don't know. The last Halloween on the big screen movie, I saw that, and I think
that's it. That was the title, actually.
Halloween on the big screen. Yeah. It rhymes, so you know it's good. Yeah, there's two men in the Halloween. No, but I think it's crap, but it's great.
Yes, it's interesting because I didn't know what to expect, and I won't say I was underwhelmed, but I just expected a little more, I guess. I don't know.
Well, this was your first time seeing it.
Yeah.
Same.
And I know you're not a fan of horror films and don't like scary things. So how did you find it? Generally?
Well, I didn't find it that scary. Actually.
Yeah, I think in my head I was confounding the first one with many of the other ones, and they definitely get like more fucked and slashier and a bit more grotesque and a bit whatever. But I thought it was do you know what it is? I think I just love Jamie Lee Curtis. I just think it doesn't matter what it is. I'm just like, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, as a debut film, I thought I was actually, because I knew that, I was concentrating on watching her as an actor, even thinking about her being in her first film. Yeah,
amazing voice. She's just got this
amazing voice, so distinctive.
I think maybe that's why I think it's great. I just love
and
her.
Also, when she was huddled in terror later on in the film, I thought that was pretty reasonable. She looked like she was huddled in terror, sort of thing.
She looked a bit frightened. Sure.
Some of it though, like when she was with him, and she sent the children out. Why did she not go out herself?
Oh, Helen, we'll get this. So what we normally do is we go chronologically through. But
Sorry.
No, you're right. We didn't explain it. No, you're right. 100% thought exactly the same fucking thing. I was like, well, this is irresponsible. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so it starts off with little boy Michael Myers.
Shaky camera at the start.
That's what I was going to comment on. I quite like the shaky camera because it really looked like somebody walking on uneven ground, sort of thing. Yeah. I quite like that.
Yeah, we've got a teenage girl making out with her boyfriend. There's a comment about where is Michael? Michael will be around sometime. And then we're looking through the eyes of a crazy boy with the shaky camera.
We don't know this yet.
We don't know. We're just creeping around a house, being a bit of a pair of watching some teenagers having a nice time.
Yeah, none of our business. What I loved was the every house had like a cute little jack-o'-lantern. Dave, I was going to ask you. You lived in America for a while. Does every house have a jack-o'-lantern?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Typically, the jack-o'-lantern is an indicator that house is available for tricking and/or treating. And so they go upstairs and they have a bit of a good time.
Well, what I really enjoy though, Sophie, see before they go upstairs, is there's this bit where it's like they go to kiss. Do you know the bit I'm talking about? Where instead of kissing, they go...
just they smashed their
Yeah.
What was the hell of it?
weren't aligned, and it wasn't even like an affection.
Passion.
Someone air. They just kind of went like this, but they missed, and they went,
Yeah.
great take. It's a great take.
Yeah. We got it. Cut. Print.
We got it.
So that obviously a highlight for me in the film. I enjoyed that. But they did go upstairs for incredibly rapid sex. Like, I think really rapid. Like,
yeah. It was just too short. And then we see the boyfriend's leaving, and then is that when do we see, when is our shaky cam through the mask eyes?
So you find when he goes upstairs. So when the couple are making out on the sofa, the dude finds this mask and kind of puts on it. It's a grotesque mask with a big nose kind of thing. But then I must have gone upstairs with them or something. But certainly the camera goes to then put this mask on, and then you're suddenly seeing it through the eyeball.
The bit that really bothers me is the fact that, okay, so it's like, this is meant to be the person looking out of the mask, but it's like, what are you looking at all the time? So like they walk up the stairs and then they look down, they go into the sister's bedroom. She is like naked, I think brushing her hair. Great rack as well.
Great rack.
Very like nice breasts. So she's brushing her hair, and then we have
Casually post-coital have a wee brush. First thing I do, don't get dressed.
I don't know. Like, my gosh. Yeah, exactly. Brushing the hair. But it's the bit where walks in, like looks at clothes on the ground, looks at like the bed that is obviously disheveled, is incredibly close to Judith, the sister, before she notices. But it's this thing where like he's just looking, and I was like, you'd trip over all the places you were looking. You're gonna trip over, then start stabbing. But my favorite bit is when it cuts to like he's watching his hand. So it's just like really, realistically, it would look like a person going like this.
What an odd thing to do. I thought exactly the same thing. Why are you it's like looking at your legs to walk. It's just a really weird.
Yeah. And did you think the angle was odd? Because I thought he was stabbing down, but he was only a little kid. Yeah, so it was like a kid with an adult height stabbing down.
But maybe she was sitting on the shortest stool imaginable and just realised that he actually needed to stab down to hit.
Yeah, but I thought when he actually came into the bedroom, I mean, she was sitting down, but he was quite a small child.
I think he's meant
I
to be
thought he would have been looking across her rather than down.
No, he's like 6 or something. It's something really, really young.
I thought 15 years later he was 23. Oh, 6. Okay, my bad.
Because like, so it's what, 1963, and then we cue to like 15 years later.
That would be somebody like Franca stabbing a child.
I would have to be sitting on a very small stool for Franca to stab downwards at my chest. Yeah, for sure.
Like this.
We'll practice. When I go back to Adelaide, I'll be like, Franca, I'm just going to sit on the stool. I want you to pretend you're stabbing me, and I'll get Mum and Dad to film it, and then we can just check it out for.
That's right. And then she'll be traumatized.
Sure, it won't be a real knife. I don't really want the child to stab me. And so then it turns out and he goes downstairs and
and is wearing a little clown suit and which no blood stains on whatsoever.
And he's just holding his knife in an awkward way, and the parents come home and they're just like, Michael, and then this is awkward bit where they just stand and look at you.
In fact, was he holding the knife with the blade up or down?
It was down, but it was in a really awkward kind of, it was just sort of to the side, and he was just there, and then they run up.
It was a bit like waiting for somebody to say cheese to have his photo taken.
Yeah, and he looked a bit perplexed. And
but the camera pans out, and you were saying like, because it's just a very big knife.
It's a really
very,
big
very
knife,
big
compared to the size of the child. I mean, it's on me, it would be this big. Like
it was a huge thing. So it turns out that if you stab your sister to death, they put you in I don't know if they actually refer to it as an insane asylum, but I feel like back in the day that's what they used to call those things.
Psychiatric hospital. But no, it would have been a psychiatric hospital then.
Not that
I didn't actually hear a term though, did you?
No. So and then,
or maybe if they did, it would be something like the facility or something. But actually, I don't think they called it anything.
Sanitarium. It was called.
Oh, it was
Smith's Grove. No, I've got notes.
Loving the notes.
Smith's Grove Sanitarium.
Smith's Grove. There you go. So
I printed some stuff off. Plus my notes.
Oh, okay. So the next scene is that Loomis and the nurse driving to pick him up.
Yeah. The nurse in the proper like old school nursey outfit, and she probably has a wee nursey.
I know. I used to have
that. I thought of you, Mum, and I was just like, I bet Helen's got stories about a nursing cat.
And to complete the nursing picture, a cigarette in the left hand.
Not all of us smoked, but many did.
But yeah, so driving, because the suggestion is there's a person who's been put away, and the law requires them to like go before someone to potentially get out of the sanitarium. And the doctor clearly thinks he should just stay there forever. And the nurse thinks maybe this man, Dr. Loomis, is being a little bit heartless. Turns out later on we find out that he was probably right.
Yeah.
And
then I like this as well, because this is where we're introduced to the doctor's tension that just stays.
It's just real tension. Right. Even at the end, in that last scene, even when like stuff has kind of come to a climax, he's just still a bit like, and funnily enough, stays like that throughout the entire franchise.
That's right. Oh, really? That's right. He looks intense the whole time, doesn't he? Concerned.
Well, it's because, so it's later revealed that, Michael is basically a monster. He's just like the devil himself. He's pure evil.
Oh, that way.
That's right. In fact, when he got into the car and drove away at the end of that scene, one of the quotes was, "The evil is gone."
Yeah.
That's
yes.
Right.
Yeah, which you laughed at.
I did.
Yeah. So
we knew better.
Yeah, they're approaching, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of people in kind of like white, I live in a sanitarium gown, just like walking around, and it's like nighttime and not raining, but like nighttime and gloomy, and
there's no one else in the road, so they're kind of isolated, and then suddenly it's all these people in their white clothing that have clearly got out of this.
And the nurse goes like, do they usually let them walk outside? It's like, no, why would you ask that? Supervision.
But also, did you find that was a bit of a distractor? Because I was expecting more of a crowd scene around the car than a single person.
Yeah, it was just, Michael was just like, I'm gonna, so I think that's exactly what it was, right? So he's done something, he's let them out. And then as Loomis goes to like check the gate and see what the heck is going on, someone runs up onto the roof of the car, and the nurse winds down the window.
Yeah, why
I think maybe to be like, get off, but I just don't. I think
Actually,
like everything that happens is her fault, right? The fact that Michael gets away is because this nurse is a fucking idiot.
Well, that's the thing, but like this was again one of these films where, I mean, sometimes I'm quiet during films. This one I was not. I shouted quite a lot, and this one was like, why are you winding down the window? Stop it! Stop it!
Yeah.
It's like someone scurried up. She's seen someone scurry up. We've just been having a conversation how there's like a very, very dangerous man.
That's right.
And then
wonder what that was.
Yeah, right. And then grabs her by the hair. She's screaming. Loomis is like still sorting stuff out. And then the best bit is that because she's in the car and it's idling. So then what she does to fix the situation, she drives off the road. And then obviously he lets go. She goes to the other side, and he just like he's really good.
He's real strong. Yeah, quite Terminator.
And then she like later days from the car runs away from the car with the keys in the ignition, and he just gets into the car and drives away.
And we're bearing in mind here too that like, I mean, I don't know what kind of a sanatorium this is, but like he might not be the only dangerous, but like they're going to get out of the car and take their lot with whoever else is kicking about.
Yeah,
but
and
this is the evil one.
Like Loomis knows these people, but literally says to that nurse, like, stay in the car, like just stay there, just like don't, just shut up, stay there, don't and she ruins it. And so the person who then he goes on to kill a bunch of other people for many, many movies, he's now free.
Yeah, and also I thought it was remarkable he could drive so well, having been in a sanitarium for the best part of his teenage years.
They did flag that, right? That was when Loomis was having a discussion with the detective or someone? No, the
sheriff.
Yes, it was.
Later on, they do chat about it. Well, how could he possibly drive? And
he was in there from the age of 6. But
and my question about that too is like, again, going back to the doctor and how tense he is. I like to think when I'm watching this film that he has been like this since he met that kid at 6. that this guy has never been able to relax. He met this kid at 6, and now everything he says is at that level of intensity. That's what I view this character.
When he met him, he had a full head of hair, and that's when he just went bald like that. He was like, "Oh, this stresses me out," and it just all fell out instantaneously.
But like so that scene though, where he's on the roof, like I do find that not super scary, but probably one of the more tense scenes.
Yeah.
Just because I think as well, I don't know if you get told like the old, like the urban legend type tales you got when you were in high school, where it's like there's something scratching on the roof of a car and it's like a body hanging, like all that kind of stuff. Like, so the whole idea of something being on the roof of a car that you can't see and you feel that you're safe in the car, but you're actually not necessarily, I think that's quite good. I'll give it that. But ultimately, you're mostly just like, why did you get out of the car? Why did you open the window? What are you doing?
It's just like, as I said, like I trust Loomis because he seemed to know everyone who was in here and he made this decision. But like she was given instructions and she didn't do a good job following them. And then a bunch of people died. And I bet she didn't get fired.
Performance managed.
Sorry, that's right. I'm not in 78, is performance managed or do you just get fired?
Yeah, probably.
And then we cut to Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's talking to her daddy, and her daddy says, "Go drop this key under the doormat of the Myers house because someone's gonna come look at it. We're gonna sell it." And then she's just like real chummy with the boy that she babysits, and he accosts her on the way, and they have a chat about all the things that they're gonna do, like carve pumpkins and watch scary movies and make popcorn for Halloween. And then so obviously he's going to school, she's going to school and dropping these keys off on the way, and she does, and he's like, "Don't go near the house, it's haunted."
It does look like quite a scary house.
It's a very scary house.
Yeah, like I mean, it's clearly been abandoned for a very long time and all boarded up and whatnot. But Big Jamie, Jamie Lee doesn't care.
Very cavalier, just walks up, says like, "Check this out," puts the thing under the mat, the key under the mat, and unbeknownst to her, Michael's inside and fucking watching the thing.
And this is our first instance of heavy breathing.
Heavy breathing, good old heavy breathing.
Yeah, actually,
he's got a big thick mask. He can't breathe through it. He's the first PPE survivor.
Yeah. Well, I thought that the breathing that happens all the way along almost personalizes a bit. I sort of, well, for want of a term, sort of enjoyed that. You know what I mean? Because you were sort of right up close, hearing him breathe.
Yeah, my mate Michael's back. What are you get up to now?
That's right.
Actually, picked Norman last week, but JP is right there with Michael and his heavy breathing.
That's right. Yeah, Dave loves Norman Bates. JP loves Michael Myers.
And did anybody enjoy the music? I actually loved it.
I think the music is great. The whole like bad things are going to happen.
The piano staccato thing, you know, it was I'm sure it's not right, but it was almost reminiscent a bit of Exorcist type music, like lead in, because it was a bit electronica and the single piano notes, and you're right. So it was fairly quiet, but as things were building up, suddenly you hear, you know, blink, 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 and I thought that was actually quite a nice touch, really.
Yeah, I think the music for this is very good.
Yeah, it was good.
Atmosphere.
And it was John Carpenter that did the music himself.
Yeah.
So So Jamie Lee Curtis didn't notice the heavy breathing person, dropped the keys off, head into school, all good. And then do we get the doctor starting to like his various frantic phone calls and things with people, and or maybe he was back at was the doctor still at the sanatorium at this point going, where is he? We all know where he's headed. The doctor knows that he's likely to be heading back to his home. Yeah. And they're like, nah, this is unlikely because it was, I don't know how many miles away, but quite far. It's like, but he's got a car, it's fine. And that's where, as you say, it's like, how can he drive? Just
like he seemed to be doing a fine job last night or whatever he said.
That's right.
He gets into his car and drives away. And then, and so then we followed Jamie Lee Curtis to school. We could call her Laurie Strode. We could call her whatever we want.
That's true.
And Jamie Lee Curtis. And she's just in school, and then we cut to the kid and his pumpkin gets broken because
by the bullies, and they are talking about someone called the Boogeyman and how the Boogeyman's going to get him.
Yeah, and we're starting to see that Jamie Lee Curtis. What's her name, isn't it? Laurie?
Oh, wait, before that we see the friends, and her friends are the worst people.
Oh my God.
in the world. I hate her friends.
But also we have the scene when Jamie Lee Curtis is clearly quite smart in class, because that's important for her character. She's an intelligent young woman, and she's also starting to get stalked by this dude. So she's sort of looking out the window, not paying attention, understandably, because whatever class that was just did not sound very exciting. But even though she's sort of looking at this character that's staring at her in a mask from behind a car, she can still answer the question.
Yeah, the teacher and she's just like,
yeah,
I've got it.
I'm on it. I know this stuff. I may be sitting up the back, but it's not because I'm bad. It's just because, like, I'm bored. I'm too good for this stuff.
Yeah. Before that, because when they're walking to school, we meet the friends for the first. Is it when we're walking to school we meet the friends?
I thought it was when we were walking home, because
you might be right. It's might be.
Oh yeah, because one of them like, "Why did you leave me behind?"
Yeah,
right. And then Jamie Lee Curtis forgot her chemistry book, and then that one's all.
Oh my God!
All the time. And my English book, and my maths book. I'm blonde. Like I can't deal with the friends.
Oh, that's not fair.
A total bitch all the fucking time. She is just mean.
Yeah, see, it's just an awful thing to say, but I didn't sort of feel sorry for the characters when they met their demise.
Agreed, JP. Especially the brown-haired one that was just
absolutely
merciless, just teasing, but constant. I'm like, this is what like causes people to go nuts and kill a bunch of people. Just leave Jamie Lee alone. She's a bit smart. She's a bit shy with the boys. It's just her thing. Don't be a dick about it.
They are very much making a big thing of they've both got dates, they've got plans in the evening. I mean, why are you friends with them? They are
exactly. And it's like, oh, she's there, she's going to be babysitting again. No, but then it turns out that the brunette's boyfriend, he did something dumb and he couldn't come out, and then that's why she was going to be babysitting as well.
He got grounded.
I don't know what he did. Something stupid, like egging something or getting caught flaring, but I don't know, something stupid and teenage. But yeah.
And it seemed to be a remarkably old person to get grounded, I have to admit, but anyway.
It's true.
Yeah. It's also not, from the friends, it's not, I mean, who knows what the conditions were on the set, etc., but they're not the strongest performances.
No, it did look a little bit like the local stage play. I think that's true.
Yeah,
and I think that's where, again, you were talking about how much you were focusing, Helen, on Jamie Lee Curtis in this, but like, just because she could act, the rest could not.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And then that's right. So the blonde one disappears, and it's when it's the brunette who, because Jamie's like, I'm being watched, there's this person, creepy, and then she sees Michael behind a bush, because
we already have that scene as well where so he drives the car past them, and again most of these streets have no one on them, no cars on them, completely empty. But suddenly we don't mind this random sort of police sheriffy type car that's driving about with a guy in a mask and a trench coat. This dude is driving, not only driving, but walking about in a black trench coat with a mask on, and in this suburban quietness with no one else around, and no one has said anything at any point the whole day this dude's around.
Yeah,
creeps the kid out.
That's what I was going to say, exactly the same thing. He seems to have just walked around quietly unnoticed in a quiet town during Halloween that you would expect to be a festive time. And even Jamie, as bright as she was, saw him a few times, and I thought, why hasn't she reported, said something?
Raise that alarm.
She just, bravely thinks, okay, and then just moves on to the.
Like freaks out. The kid's pumpkin gets broken. Like Michael is there to freak the shit out of one of the perpetrating kids. That kid just runs off, obviously tells no one, and then he drives down the road really slowly after a small boy before he then starts stalking Laurie and her friends. And then so it's like this car drives along and they making jokes about how it's like some attractive boy from high school in the car, and they work out it's not, and so the blonde one shouts at him and he stops. And they just stand there and they watch. And then eventually he drives away.
And then she's also like, oh, it was a joke. And you're like, I don't understand what was the joke. What was funny about any of this? I'm so confused. And like, just go away. Just go away now.
Yeah, and then that's right. So then it's after that, but then the blonde one is gone, and then the brunette, after Jamie Lee Curtis has seen Michael White, like goes and pretends to have a conversation with him behind the hedge, and is basically mercilessly mocking her friend because her friend is terrified of this creepy man that she keeps seeing. And the good news is that brunette dies later. So like,
movie.
And then
so she's very Laurie's very shaken by it all, but gets back to her house, but then sees the creepy man again. She's up in her bedroom and she looks
outside her own house
in the next door neighbor's garden, looking up at her. So yeah, understandably freaked out. But does she phone a friend or something? Like I don't know.
Oh my gosh!
But wasn't there 2 phone calls? One was so silent, nothing. And then she answers it again. Happens. And then it was her friend and Annie playing a joke, the one we don't like.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And she's like, I had my mouth full or something weird like that. It's like, why would you call someone the second you were eating something? What are you doing, Annie?
She obviously deserves a fate. There's no doubt about that.
And then there's a great line. She says something like, I thought it was an obscene phone call or something like that.
Yeah.
That's right. That's hoping.
Look, Jamie Lee can only work with the script she's been given.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And she does her very best with it several times. There was, because I think in Message there's points where she's talking to herself and Dave's like, who's she talking to? And you're like, oh, she's just supposed to be talking to herself. It's a bad time, just leave her alone.
Yeah. And then we established that so the awful friend who's also babysitting has the mother's car and is going to come pick up Jamie Lee Curtis. I can't remember at which stage we've got like Loomis making his way slowly in a horrific way to.
So he's also had a little phone boxy conversation because he finally phones the local police, and we're back to Dave's challenge, with the old films. Well, not Dave's challenge, the challenge in the past where not everyone knows where everyone is, so you have to find phone boxes.
Yeah, for sure.
So the doctor realizes that no one's really taking him seriously enough, even though why no one's taking him seriously, I don't know, given how bad this person's supposed to be. So he's making his way to Mike Myers' hometown, and then decides to stop beside the road to make a phone call on the phone box to the local police force and say this.
After we saw the sign of, it's like, was it Haberfield, whatever it's called, it's like we see that sign and he's like, "There's coming to," insert name of town we just saw.
Haddonfield.
But interesting.
Thank you.
Haddonfield.
But conveniently, he seems to have managed to stop beside a pickup truck that clearly Mike Myers has already stopped and killed the dude or whatever to steal their clothes or something. I think that was
he finds white clothing, and then he also finds the box of matches that the nurse was using to light her cigarette in the first scene. And then it's like, oh, he must have been here. And then I like it, like the shot pans out and there's like a dead man just around the corner, and he didn't even bother.
He missed it. Sorry, go.
Also, does anybody figure out why there was sort of essentially 2 single bed sheets that he found, the white ones?
I just figured it.
There was one on the
top and one was his bed sheet bottoms. I don't know.
It just was odd that there was a truck there, and I would have thought they were very white bits of sheet for somebody who actually drove a pickup. I thought it was just 2 odd bits of cloth.
Yeah, then I figured that it was just for some reason. Michael Myers' crazy house clothes were white and look like pillowcases.
That's why I
stole the other guy. The guy stole his clothes, and then
quite clean and billowy. Yeah, that's fair enough.
But then got back, so stole the clothes, but got back into the same car that they knew had been.
Exactly. That was a bit that I didn't get. But also, what I really enjoyed was I noticed obviously at the start, they were doing that thing with the nurse making a big thing about the matchbox and focusing on it. But Dave was watching this whole scene going, I don't know what is going on. And I'm like, oh, but didn't you see the matches? So clearly he's been there. But why did he throw the matches out of the car? It is weird. Maybe I see why they're doing it, but it's weird.
In his gusto to get out and kill a man and steal his clothes, but not take his car, he accidentally knocked the matches
out
of the car.
Yeah, that's a question for the script.
As to why the matches should be.
It's a question
outside.
for the script writer, I think.
Yeah. Which is John Carpenter and someone else, I think.
Deborah Hall, is that right?
Yeah, it was something like that, and I was like, oh, it's all his fault. Yeah, so now we've established that, so Michael Myers is wearing his civilian clothes, but still in the same stolen car that they know is stolen, and then
except again, civilian clothes, speedy mask, and a trench coat.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that farmer-looking guy didn't have that fucking trench coat, but like, sure.
I really hope he did. It's so good.
Because what would have been nice is to figure out where this mask turned up from. All of a sudden,
you gotta watch the extended universe of Halloween.
Oh, okay.
It also explains why Laurie Strode is actually being targeted by him as well.
Well, funny you should say that, because that's the point I was going to make, that he seems to, I mean, it's not that he's not involved with others, clearly, but he seems to have targeted her for a particular reason. I couldn't figure out why.
I'll tell you at the end of this, at the end of our discussion, I'll tell you why, but also the mask in one of the sequels I've seen, there is an explanation as to where he gets it on. Like he gets it on the way, I think. Like he
steals it from a hardware store.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, does it? Oh, okay. Because I know he stole other things from the hardware store.
Yeah.
They mentioned what was stolen,
which I think is really helpful, because we've got some rope, we've got a couple of big knives.
Handy.
That's right. What a coincidence! Yeah.
There's a massive storm outside.
Not here.
We had a storm here about 2 or 3 hours ago. Some good lightning.
Yeah, we had it earlier today as well.
Yeah, we've had lightning during the day in odd pockets and things.
I think our storm is 32 tomorrow, but then apparently the lightning storm will hit tomorrow evening, and then it'll be 23 the next day. Yeah, just because I also wanted to report on the status of Sydney's storm. Anyway, so yeah, we're back at Laurie, and has the friend come to pick her up, and they're having like a wee banger in the car?
Yes,
that's right. And the sheriff did not pick up the smell, which I thought was rather.
Or maybe he did, and he just is like, my daughter's a riot, let's just leave her to it.
My daughter's a problem, and Laurie doesn't do a lot of stuff, and this is her one act of rebellion, and let's let her have it, because also like it's 70s weed, so that's surely meant to be a bit, it doesn't have like all the chemicals and crap. Isn't like weed these days meant to be like far more potent? Yeah. And that's why everyone's a brain dead stoner, as opposed to like in the past everyone was just a hippie. So he's obviously gone like, look, she's just expressing herself. Let her have a little joint on Halloween. My daughter's like a horrible person. I don't even mind what happens to her. She smoke and drive, whatever.
That's her last bit of pleasure.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And also, as we've established in this little community, there's no one really on the road anyway.
No, there's very. Do we even see any other car?
Yeah. That's right. Because getting back to the early stuff, I thought that of the school in particular. So this masked man slowly drives past the school, and there's the main characters coming out of the school, and no other students at all.
Also, here's my question for the 70s people. Like in 1978, if there was like a creeper lurking around a school, would that actually, in a mask and a trench coat, would that attract suspicion in the late 70s?
Not at all.
Okay.
No,
they shouldn't be like.
I'm sure it would.
No, it'd be just one of those hippies, probably.
I'm sure.
People used to hitchhike. Maybe it was fine.
Yeah.
Well, they did, like I said, it was certainly different times, but you'd think a mask that looks just slightly evil might have aroused just at least a question mark.
But he put his knife away when he was near the school, so no one would know.
Nice.
But they do seem to dismiss anything in this film, though, with it's Halloween, so everyone's a bit weird. Like anything that's strange, it's Halloween.
It's okay.
It's Halloween. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So like you go back to the hardware store where there's clearly been a robbery, and that's why Laurie and that obnoxious brunette talk to the brunette's dad, who's the sheriff, and he's like, well, look, there's been this robbery, this is what's been stolen. Then they drive off, continue on their way to the babysitting job, all the while this gal is harassing Laurie because she doesn't have a date for the homecoming dance, so isn't going to it the next day, all that stuff. And then our good old doctor dude rocks up to talk to the sheriff. He's made it to the town. He's like, can you give me a couple of minutes? Well, no, I'm actually kind of busy. There's an alarm going off here, this has been robbed. And he's like, no, it's urgent. So still got that high tension. So he's like, yeah, give me 10 minutes then, fine. Very accommodating man. I find the sheriff very nice, very accommodating. Shame his daughter is an asshole.
Well, I mean, you can make a
he's a bit like the sheriff in Psycho, isn't he? A bit laid back, accommodating, he's happy to have a chat, sort of thing.
Yeah, small town dude where there's not really much going on. So kids have broken into this hardware store. It's clearly kids because it's ropes and knives.
Yeah, I was going to say, at what stage? I think we've missed it. There was a bit where Loomis goes to the graveyard where the sister is buried.
I forgot that.
Judith Meyer's entire headstone has been lifted, and it's just like Halloween pranks.
So I couldn't figure that out because I was like, if you look at the indentation where it's been taken, it looks coffin shaped, but his feet are in the frame. So I'm like, how tiny is this woman? Like,
actually, funny as you say, I thought exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, she's this big. Like, I don't. What? Did it?
I didn't have the same problem. I interpreted it as like the person is buried here, and then there was a headstone that had been lifted out of the ground, and there was a thin headstone gap.
I'm with you, Sophie. I thought that too. And
okay. I was like, did I watch it?
When Dave said that, I thought he was just being silly. I didn't realize he genuinely thought that was the.
Oh, that was the whole thing.
I thought that was the whole, that shape was like.
Yeah, and I thought exactly the same thing, Dave. I thought it was a shot from a bit of distance, sort of thing, and so I.
But there was scale, so it was like, what was a person approximately the size of the knife that was used to stab has been buried.
Well, people do get smaller in old age. I
mean. Anyway, I was wrong.
Yeah.
But we don't find out though why she's died, do we? That doesn't come up. But essentially, because again, like they had a 6-year-old, so I'm assuming they weren't that old, his parents, even 15 years later. But the mother's dead, right?
Yeah, I mean, so the extended universe, you find
explains it. So we don't know, but ultimately, the mum's dead, and the doctor knows that he's likely to have visited the graveyard and maybe not stolen the body, but have been there. And then, and again, the dude
stolen his dead sister 15 years later. He's very strong. Just on the back, just walks away with it. No one's bothered by anyone.
And she's all.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like you've got the mask, you've got like the trench coat, you've got a corpse on your back, and everyone's like, Halloween! It's Halloween!
That's right. Strange things happen.
Yeah. Imagine. Oh, we need to remake Halloween in claymation, but our version of it.
And what I quite like in that cemetery thing too, where it's like, so the I guess the cemetery keeper, what do you call them? I don't know.
What's a cemetery?
What do you call a cemetery
worker?
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it.
I don't know. But anyway, so he is a very short scene, but starts to want to talk to the doctor about other gruesome things. So it's like everyone makes a big deal about the Myers murders, but you know,
it's just
other small towns have like, what is it? Just a gravedigger.
The internet is just like gravedigger, gravedigger, gravedigger. I don't think that's what it is. You could work at a cemetery and not dig graves.
I'm gonna call it a gravekeeper. That's what I'm going to.
A caretaker or a groundskeeper.
That may be it. So he's trying to talk about other gruesome stories, and our doctor dude is having none of it. Loomis is like, nah, I've got a mission here. Shut up. Stop being ridiculous. Shut up.
Exactly.
Where are we even going? Take me to the lot I'm supposed to go to. But the I almost called him the gatekeeper, the gravekeeper, is not really that put out the actual tombstone of the person, like related to the person we're looking for, is gone because, well, kids, of course, kids.
Just not very good. No one's very good at their job in this movie.
Yeah.
Really laid back. I mean, again, you could argue small town, nothing much happens, but then a very gruesome murder had happened.
It happened 15 years ago, Karen, and we forgot. We all got resignation and laid back and bad at our jobs again. So I just think because that comes back later, and I reckon that's happened on Loomis's way to.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, so we missed that. So we're back we arrived at the children's houses for babysitting.
And how quickly the parents are running out that house. Like, you know, I want to be here. Here's my child. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. And then
so now we've got the sheriff and Loomis. The sheriff is now like, I don't know what you're worried about. He's still quite laid back about it all, but he's going along with Loomis, and they're like, he's likely to go back to the house. Let's go to the house. They're doing that side of things. And then back with Laurie and her pal. Laurie had told her pal that she would go to the homecoming dance. Oh no, not that she would go, but that she had a fancy for this dude, Ben something or other. So her pal has actually set them up to have this date. And so she's phoning. So what's quite convenient about this babysitting job is that they're in houses diagonally across the street from one another. Really, really close.
Describe it as 3 houses away. And I was like, I wonder how you're counting those. But yes.
And it's in that US suburban, like large lot houses. Like
no fences. No one's got fences.
No, that's not
weatherboard houses. No, I know that. Do you remember the time that I was in the US with Joe and that German Shepherd ran at us and we thought we were going to die, and it turned out it had like one of those collars and one of those invisible fences, and it stopped like literally a meter away from us. And Joe was like, I don't want to kill this dog. And I was like you could kill that dog. Yeah, it's don't enjoy, so it's nice. But yeah, so they're in their houses.
Yep, and so Laurie is looking after
the boy who lost the pumpkin earlier. Annoying brunette is looking after her little sister.
That's right. He's watching the horror film.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
Lindsay Wallace.
Is that her little sister?
I don't think it's her sister. No, she's just babysitting a different kid.
Oh, okay.
Got a different name.
Yeah, but also like, and Lindsay just so not interested in anything that's happening for quite.
I love Lindsay.
Watching a movie and she's like, you're talking to me and I don't give a shit.
But I like that too, because her babysitter is crap. Because even on the way to the job, that brunette is like, I'm going to terrify Lindsay. I'm just going to watch all the scary films and I'm just going to like freak her out. And it's like, you're just mean. You're a mean bad babysitter. I don't like you.
And deserves to die, as we've established.
Yes, sir. And the irony is that she gets terrorized, not the child.
Exactly. Because Lindsay just doesn't seem to care.
No. She's a pretty cool kid.
And then
Laurie's really upset. They got this phone call. Laurie's really upset. She's really embarrassed. And she wants this to be sorted. So she's very distracted. And at some point, our evil Mike Myers turns up somewhere. But first of all, I think he's more over at the brunettes.
Yeah,
rather
he's faffing about, and because that's right. So she's basically making popcorn. The kid is Lindsay is in the room watching the movie. She's called up. She's being like a bitch to Laurie, and then she goes like, I just got butter all over myself. So
what I love is like, it looked like she spilled a little bit maybe on her pants, and then, I'll just take all my clothes off.
A shirt. Like goes like, bring me a she tells her to bring her a robe with a child. The child's ignoring her. She finds like a giant white shirt of a man, puts that on.
But just with like a couple of buttons, you've got to be loose with the And of course you're not wearing a bra, so it's just a white shirt,
Annie, you harlot. And then so then hangs up the phone because she's got to deal with that. So like then Laurie is on her own watching the scary movie with the boy.
And the boy has been asking her about the boogeyman because he's talking about the kids earlier on. And actually, the boy, anytime he's looking out the window, does see Mike Myers floating about with a trench coat and mask. And he's like, no, there's someone out there. Oh, no, there's not. Don't be silly. It's no such thing.
Which is insane because Lauren has been seeing a creepy, and I think I have to assume that it's like, because he's saying boogeyman as opposed to there's like a creepy man with a white mask standing outside. If he'd used those words, I believe Laurie would have like believed him instantly. It
was a syntax error, basically.
It was a syntax error. You're right. He used the wrong words to describe the thing the computer didn't understand, and it like hence like that information was not taken on board.
Exactly. So we have a brunette girl wandering around in her pants. None of this advances the story at all.
No.
But eventually she gets to the laundry room, but it takes a long time to get there.
The laundry room is way outside the back of the garden, in the dark. Everything's
dark.
I guess we're building tension, aren't we? We're waiting for something to happen.
Point.
It took a while to get there. There's like a lot of like, I'm not wearing any clothes, like I've got this shirt on, whatever. And then eventually she's like, I'm gonna go wash my clothes.
Yeah.
She gets stuck in the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, how can you, what I can't understand is how you can actually lock yourself from the inside. I couldn't quite get that.
Yeah, lock yourself inside the laundry room, the lights are off. She's calling for the girl who's not paying any attention.
Which is hilarious because I was like, this is not going to work at all, because she was already shouting on the girl from within the house earlier on in the film, and Lindsay was ignoring her. And now she's right at the bottom of the garden in this laundry room, and she's thinking that Lindsay will listen to her now. Don't be ridiculous.
Lindsay can't hear Annie, idiot. Yeah, so Annie gets herself half stuck out of a window, but luckily it is Annie's boyfriend who calls, because he's got himself, he's not in trouble anymore. No, his parents have gone out, so he's still in trouble.
So he can escape from being grounded because there's no one in.
Yeah, and so then so Lindsay picks up the phone, and it's at that stage where she's just like, oh, like Annie's washing her clothes, and then goes outside and discovers that Annie is stuck in the window trying to get herself out, and literally goes like, you locked yourself in. I really like that. She's like, I had to come away from my movie all the way out. You fucking locked yourself in. Like, what am I even doing with you?
Where are your pants?
Because the thing is, like, I've got a question, but I just can't remember the order. But like, she's still not, aside from wear your pants, but Mike Myers has been kicking about, but she's not seen him yet, right? It's not like she's not climbing out the window to escape, right? It's just because she's locked in.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was Mike Myers that had locked her in, but I think I maybe just decided that because maybe JP, it was your comment, how did you get locked in?
I think you might be right, because he was keen out, because there was one stage where he's fucking about with a hanging pot plant outside to freak her out, and like fucks with it and then steps away, and she was like, what's that sound? And there was a thing with like, because also when she's in there, don't the lights, she gets herself locked in, but something weird happens to
the lights don't work.
Yeah, but I think my assumption is like he did lock her.
But she's still not aware, so it's not like she was trying to climb out the window to escape. It was just
she was just stuck, and obviously Lindsay wasn't listening because she couldn't hear her, so she's gone like, I've got to get out some other way. So Lindsay comes to the rescue,
which is also a bit surprising. A child of that age, you think they'd be a bit scared about going
whenever we watch any of these, like I think of myself at that age, and it's like I would have been, even at my age, like the creepy little garden thing. I just don't know. It's all creepy.
Yeah, although she was actually watching that horror film, pretty unaffected. I know it was only UFOs or something, but
it was the thing.
It was the thing from out of whatever.
Yeah. Oh, it was the thing. That's right.
Yeah.
It was the thing. Had the thing been made by this point? Was the thing?
There's one that's called like the thing from outer space or something, which is what it's based on. But it's like basically like a 50s, I think.
Oh, the thing from another world.
Oh, from another world. Okay, that's the one. Yeah. So I think that's what we're watching. Okay. Not your Kurt Russell one.
Okay.
It predates that.
No, and apparently, John Carpenter, like he put it in, and then he was just like, the thing. But yeah, so you're right. So that she's got balls of steel, basically, is what established that small girl child.
Well, I like Lindsay. I think she's great. And then I like as well the brunette babysitter, whose name I just can't even believe. Annie. So she basically says to Lindsay, and don't tell anyone I was stuck in the window. And you were like, she's gonna tell someone. She's
gonna do it.
And basically goes back straight away and says to her boyfriend, she was stuck out the window. So
but don't you thought it was interesting? She was stuck so hard and couldn't get out of the window, but when time to get out of the window, she got out quite easily.
Yeah, I thought that too.
But maybe because she got out, that maybe she was only stuck the outside. Maybe the stuck only goes in one direction for those windows. So
or she had residual butter on her or something.
Yeah, I think like like with velvet, how you can do it in one way and it looks like something in the other way. It's like that kind of butter.
Yes, the babysitter is just like velvet,
or like a shark, like a shark's skin.
Oh, like that's a better one, Dave. Yeah, like shark skin. It will cut you in one direction, it won't cut you in the other. That's what happens when she gets stuck in one direction, not the other direction. And
chats to her boyfriend on
the phone.
She
really wants sexy time.
So she takes Lindsay and palms her off to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, because it's not.
Helen, are you calling me?
Oh, they've frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Let me call them.
And we noticed that. Well, they just looked really engrossed in the chat. Are they going to dial in with their comments?
We didn't realize that you'd frozen until you called me, and I was like, oh.
Oh no.
Oh, their electricity went off.
Oh no.
Shit.
Oh yeah, we're in a storm.
That's scary.
And we're talking about horror films.
Oh shit.
I'm going to top up her wine.
Okay.
Keep talking about the film, Dave.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. So basically everyone, just to update, because I realized that Karen, Dave, and the internet cannot hear this. Basically, like they've had massive blackouts in various other places in South Australia today because the storm stopped, and now they've all been plunged into darkness, and maybe they'll all be in darkness forever.
Tell them to make a jack-o'-lantern.
Or it could just be the boogeyman.
Or the boogeyman.
I mean, you do have options. You can, so if you do want to join us for the end and you have your phone, someone has a phone on them. Do you want to do that? Because I mean, unless you've emotionally, you're done with
checked out. They've checked out.
All right, Dad. JP is getting some lamps and they'll connect on the phone.
All right.
Okay, we'll talk to you in a bit.
We'll just tap them right back in when they get in.
Okay, so
my favorite bit was just like, Helen, are you calling me? It's like, oh, they're not moving.
Oh, yeah. It's like, why are you?
Since you got new drinks, you keep talking. I can hear you. I'm just gonna refill.
Okay, so Burnett palms off Lindsay to Jamie Lee Curtis because she's like, I'm gonna stay at this house and have sexy time.
Yeah, no, she had to go and pick up her boyfriend.
She had to pick up her
boyfriend because they've got an empty house.
She's like, why don't you walk over here? And then for some reason, the new plan is she's going to go fucking pick him up. Why couldn't he walk over?
Yeah, he just wouldn't. I don't think he wanted to. He's like, you come pick me up.
Yeah, so she goes to get sexy. And then you're right.
She goes to get sexy.
Very ghostly.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh my God.
Welcome back.
Yes, you've got. It's very atmospheric. Good vibes.
Scared me. She would make this face and do this witch laugh. As a child, scared the shit out of me, and she loved it.
Yeah.
And your mom is the one that doesn't like scary things.
I know.
She traumatized me as a child.
I'm a paradox or something. Hold on, I think I'll have to lean you against something up here to be able to see us. Yep.
I like the creepy shadows on JP now too. It's like, just a shadowy face.
Terrifying plaid. Creepy flannel.
All right, we're sliding.
But yeah, well adapted, quickly adapted. We were just saying, we were still chatting to you as if you were engrossed in our conversation about Halloween and what was going on with the window scene. And then we're like, oh, they've not moved.
Yeah. And then, because Dad, what you missed was my phone started ringing and it was Mom. And I was like, Helen, are you meant to be calling me? And then we realized that you weren't moving at all. And it was like, oh, okay, sure.
I was just going to put the heater on, then I realized I can't.
Everything needs electrons to work.
Right.
Well, we didn't get very far in the chat. We were establishing that Annie is driving to go and pick up her boyfriend because he's too lazy to walk. Yeah. So she pans off Lindsay to Laurie because Laurie doesn't have anyone coming round, whatever. And
she's such a dork and she's too smart for the boys.
But she promises Laurie that if she does her this favor and looks after Lindsay, that she will get her out of the date with Ben. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Laurie was all like, she was just a bit mortified by the situation. She was just like, call Ben and just like tell him I didn't say that. Like, because apparently she didn't say that she wanted to go to dance with him. It was like that she had a big crush on him or something. She divulged too much. It was basically, got to undo what you did. And so Annie, who fucked up in the first place and then a bunch of times after, was like, here's the deal. I'll unfuck up a tiny bit if you do my paid job for me tonight while I go fetch my boyfriend so I can get laid.
Yeah, and she doesn't even say, I will definitely just, I'll maybe talk, if maybe, I'll maybe talk to him in the morning. Yeah, hate her. Which is great, because then she goes back to the house to try and get in the car to drive and pick up her boyfriend.
Look at these two camping, by the way.
It's so cute. I do find it really creepy, and the creepy shadows behind them. As I say, it's very effective.
It's very effective. Sorry, Karen, go on. I just got distracted by these little happy campers here. Dad's got his like flannel shirt. Mom's got her like, I'm out in the wilderness with my warm jacket on.
Right. We'll light some candles soon and roast some veggie sausages or something.
Okay.
That sounds great. That's a magic evening.
Fucking love a veggie sausage. Yeah, sorry, Karen, please.
So she goes, she's still kicking about just in her underpants and the shirt. And she goes to get in her car. It's locked. She's like, oh, the keys. She's singing a wee song. She's singing herself a wee happy song. And it's like, oh, where's the keys?
When does she die? Can we kill her now? Like,
she
does. She goes back
imminently.
Yeah, gets the keys, goes back to the car, but gets in the car, and the windscreen's all like frosted over.
Oh yeah, I thought this bit was quite good. That was quite good. I thought. Yeah, the frosty windscreen to denote that there's someone already in the car.
And there's big heavy breather behind her.
And then she garroted with a hand.
Yeah, and this is one of the issues that I always have. It is not that easy to strangle someone. It takes a lot longer, right? So it takes a lot longer, a lot more effort. It's like you can't just like strangle someone for 20 seconds and they're dead. Like that's not how. It's like actually quite hard to use like bare hands strangle a person. So that's unrealistic. Is all I'm saying.
Right. Well, don't think it actually seems to me to go on for a bit longer than the average choking scene. I thought it was.
It needs to be minutes. It needs to be literally fucking minutes, people.
I thought you could, because it's not about occlusion of air. You can actually occlude blood flow, so you can lose consciousness quite quickly.
Yeah, but but then you're not dead. This is the thing. Like I think.
Oh, you're not dead. Yeah. You might flop as though dead.
No, true. I think that's true.
Marvelous acting right there.
But I do believe that after this 20-second scene, she was dead.
I think so.
In movie land.
This is my issue. Yeah, no, you're right. You can very much make someone lose consciousness like quite easily, but to actually to kill them to the point of death and no return, I think a bit of effort is involved. Yeah. Is my understanding.
But anyway,
true crime podcasts.
I don't think anyone, I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone here, but I don't think anyone really minded that Annie was dead.
Annie. Oh, killer. No. Should have been worse. I think she got off lightly with death. She's got
Why steal all these knives from hardware stores if you're just going to strangle people?
That's a good question.
Right. I mean, he comes back with gusto later on, though, I guess.
That is true. So
Annie's dead.
Annie's dead, and we're back in the house with Laurie and the two kids who are watching Scary Movie. But like the boy looks out the window and I don't know. I don't know.
That's fine.
But like he looks out the window and again sees the boogeyman, but this time the boogeyman's carrying a body.
Yeah, but not on his back like he would have carried his sister's corpse, just like in the baby. Yeah, it's not. He's not wearing as a cape, as in the claymation movie yet to be made. He's just carrying it in. Yeah, because it's like, so the boy was gonna creep out Lindsay and then like goes behind the curtain and then just like loses his shit because like he sees the boogeyman carrying a dead woman.
Yes.
He's understandably upset. Jamie Lee Curtis is like, there's nothing there. What are you talking about?
Like, I believe him.
And is it at this point that the blonde
and her
boyfriend come to the house? Because they've arranged to be at the same house and have a adjacently.
Yes, sexy. So it's like this person has been entrusted with the care of a child. Not only is she doing a terrible job, she has organized two of her friends to have sexy times in said house. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's a weird organization.
Yeah. And what I enjoy too is like the couple go into the house, they're like, oh, there's no one here. This is fine. We'll just get started.
That's right. Yeah, we'll just get started. And then at some stage they talk to Laurie, and after that they're just like, she's not coming back. Yes. Let's go nuts and have sex in someone's bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone's bed that I thought was interesting. I don't know if they brought it in from the house, but did anyone else notice that there was a jack-o'-lantern next to the bed? And you're like, that's wild. Trick or treat. Like, I don't know.
Maybe
if there's anything I've learned from Helen and Jean-Pierre, you do not leave candles lit in the house unattended. And that jack-o'-lantern theoretically would have been unattended until they went up into the bedroom for sexy times.
Maybe that was its purpose. Maybe it was there with purpose. Maybe it's some kind of decorative gourd aphrodisiac.
Sounds like a fire hazard to me, Dave, not a gourd aphrodisiac.
And I'm learning more about you than I want to after a very long time together. Even it's pumpkins.
And,
I don't know. I'm just, you know.
But, yeah. So okay. Sorry. Go back to so who calls who? Does the blonde call Laurie?
Yes.
And, like, where's Annie? And then she's like, oh, she went to pick up insert name of trash boyfriend here. Yeah. And then when we've established
and so we established that Lindsay's not in the house either, not going to come back, and they're like, so there's not even, you know, we were going to have sex anyway with the kid in the house, but the kid's not here, so great.
Yeah,
so.
basically, yeah, the idea is that she should have been back already. If she's not back, maybe she's not coming back. Fine. So we're going to have sex in the house. Great. So they go and have sex in the house. And again, like, doesn't go for a super long time, and then they both have
no, but she has a lovely time, she says. But like, again,
I don't believe her.
He's really obnoxious. I mean, the girls in this are really obnoxious, but the guys are terrible, and this dude's just.
Because at one stage there's something, and the phone rings. The phone rings in the house. They get distracted, and then they have to stop their throes of passion, but they can't pick up the phone because they're going to get Annie in trouble because like two random people are meant to be in the house having sex. So they leave it, and then they just take it off the hook. The phone.
But they've done a bad job because like they've taken it off the hook so they don't get calls, but they've taken it off the hook while someone's ringing them, which means they've just got someone ringing them, and then they go back to having sex.
Yeah.
So someone's just listening to them have sex now.
Oh, I assume that they waited. His timing was very good, and the phone stopped ringing. And like a microsecond later, he took it off the hook.
Okay, well, that's an in-universe explanation, I guess. Yeah.
But also like someone was listening to them have like very short sex that they both said that they enjoyed. Then so not only are they having sex in someone else's bed, they're now having like lighting cigarettes in that room. So again, we're just leaving evidence everywhere, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go and get some beer. She sends him down to get her beer, and I'm like,
she's like, "Do you want a beer?
Beers, or are you stealing beers as well?" From
stealing beers.
Like, yeah.
And then Michael comes. This is when we get to see Michael in his knife glory. He's done with strangling people, and he comes out because so the guy's downstairs is getting the beers. He hears things. He's just like, "Stop playing tricks on me, all you women." It's none of the women. Michael comes in. There's a bit of a thing, and he just gets like stabbed to the wall very hard.
Oh, that's right. He gets pinned up. I forgot about that.
Pinned up with the knife. So again, like load-bearing knife, and Michael's obviously driven that like further into the door than humanly possible for this knife to support the dead weight of a large human man.
Not only that,
I'm calling it improbable.
Feet are off the ground. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
That's right. And he's straight up, like he's not bent over.
No, he wouldn't.
He's
Stop.
Yes. His rigor mortis instantaneous. It's instantaneous rigor mortis, and the most strong knife and door combo you've ever met in your life.
It was impressive.
Yeah, but then it goes on to one of my favorite scenes in this film that is just hilarious, and I love it so much. When Mike Myers wears a sheet, but not only does he do that, but he puts the boyfriend's glasses over the sheet, and he goes back upstairs without the beers, unfortunately, for our blonde waiting in the bed upstairs. But he goes to go and see her and just stands in the doorway, sheet and glasses. And I'm sorry, but I don't know who watched that and was scared. Maybe in the 70s when people watched it, but that's very funny.
I watched that and I was like, oh, I've really got to rewatch Beetlejuice. I haven't seen it for a while. That's all I got was just like, oh yeah, I really like Beetlejuice and I haven't seen it for a while. But no, that's not, and also, but the fact that the whole interaction was weird. She was like, what are you doing? Like, you're weirding me out. But it's just dumb. That whole bit was just it was just a bit too dumb, I think.
Yeah.
Acting was especially good at that scene, I think.
Yeah, she was awful.
Yeah,
she was one of the worst in all of this. As I say, like her bad scene at the start about, I lose my chemistry book, I lose my art book, and then she's got this scene and you're just like, yeah, you also are going to die now. Like, we've had enough of you.
Yeah.
I actually found Waiting for Death's a bit of a problem. I was hoping that would happen a bit sooner at this stage.
Yeah, for sure. Some of the people deserve to die earlier than they do.
You just knew they were. It's like, I know you're going to die. I know we're waiting around. I know we're literally following you around because we're waiting for the moment when you're going to die.
Let's just get it done.
I didn't find myself tense. I didn't find it tense waiting for something to happen. I just felt impatient.
Yeah, it was
But maybe that's all the slasher movies that have come since, where it's like it's become a bit more dynamic. It's like Black Sabbath. It's like they've written some good heavy metal songs, but I infinitely prefer covers of their music to the originals, just because it sounds better. It sounds like it's just more modern and juicy and tasty. So maybe just people have like managed to sugarcoat the same thing and give it to us in a more efficient way now. But this is still the original, and it deserves credit for that. But like, maybe it's just not as juicy for that reason.
Maybe, or also like she was just rubbish. They're all dead.
So she gets stabbed, right?
Yeah, she gets
another stabby.
Yeah, she gets stabbed. Yeah, for sure. I think. Yeah, I think from then on, it's all about the knives.
All about the knife.
Yeah,
I think it's all about the knives. Yeah.
Didn't she get? I just can't remember. Did she try and phone and then put the phone thing around her neck first?
Yes, you're absolutely right.
She tries to phone Laurie.
Yeah, because
she
and then
does phone Laurie, and Laurie's like, you sound like, she doesn't say you sound like you're having sex, but that's how I perceived it. But like, what are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need help? And it's just this weird moaning sound in the phone. Yeah, you're right.
Given we've already had that scene earlier on where a friend pranked her and was silent on the phone, so Laurie's now like, oh, come on, stop messing around. But no,
I don't want to.
She was dying.
I don't want to victim shame, but maybe just like as she's making enough sounds, just try to say the word help. Like it's just an idea, because it was just this weird thing. She can obviously make sounds. Just have a go at forming that sound and see if it helps. Is all I'm saying. Next time.
I think that's reasonable.
I like line too. You remember she said, "I'll kill you if it's a joke."
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, you know what, Laurie, kill her anyway, even if it's not. But it's fine. Michael's already done it for you.
And so we've got Laurie kind of making some chat, maybe at this point or maybe earlier on, I don't know, but like everyone's having a lovely time apart from her, and that she's always on her own, and so she's a bit sad.
Sorry, Laurie called because she wanted to know what time she should put her face to bed. That's why because it's obviously like, she wasn't back. No, I can't remember. Yeah, that's right.
But then
something to do with the story.
Yeah, something to do with the storyline. She called for some reason, and now we progress.
Plot pointy.
But I do think she must find out at some point that her pal never showed up to. So I think does the boyfriend of the brunette call her because her pal never showed up or something? She finally finds out that something weird has gone on, and that Annie, the brunette, hasn't actually gone to pick him up.
Yeah.
And now she's like, oh, something weird's going on. And is this when Laurie goes over? Does Laurie go over?
Yeah, she puts the kids to bed, and then she goes over.
Leaves them.
She leaves. Well, but then again, 78. I feel like maybe that's fine.
Exactly. Quiet community.
Nothing's gonna happen. I'm gonna leave. I'm probably not gonna lock any door. No one's locked any door at any stage in this movie, so fine. And then goes.
Although I think she did lock the door, and that's how she got into trouble.
No, you're right. Sorry, she did. She gets the keys out of her bag. She locks the door. She goes over there. It's all like dark and like a little bit scary. She's calling out for people. She goes upstairs, and then that's when she sees her. Now, it's Annie? Yeah, it's Annie who is like on the bed with the gravestone behind her, which is like a bit, again, human reactions. You walk in and see that, you fucking scream and run out of that house. You don't be dilly-dallying. It's like, I know she sort of backs into the corner freaked out, but it's like, no, you would like later days the fuck out of that house.
I actually have a point where I think because her friends mess around with her and everyone's of this mode of, it's just Halloween. I had a moment where I thought, if you walked into a room where your friend has been messing about with you and you see a gravestone on a bed and your friend just face down or whatever it was on it, you'd think that your friend, first of all, is taking the piss. So I actually thought you would go into that room and then go, come on, what are you doing? Stop messing around. And then you'd be like, oh, actually, she's not moving. But then maybe there was more blood than I could see, or although she was strangled, so maybe not, or maybe she smelled, or I don't know, but like, so certainly she knew it was definitely a death.
And then she backs herself into the corner, and then what we have is the two other dead friends in like various like.
Oh, one's swinging upside down, right? The dude
and then the blonde one is just kind of like in a closet, just like dead staring. So like Laurie freaks out a little bit, and then she goes to leave, and then when does
he starts to chase her, right?
Yeah, he's appeared from somewhere. I mean, obviously he's lurking. We know he's lurking. But
he's lurking somewhere.
Yeah. Goes to chase. That's right. Goes to chase her.
Except he doesn't. The one thing about this dude, so he never speaks. We know that he's never so he never speaks, never makes a noise. Apart from the
entire franchise, he never fucking speaks. Very frustrating.
And he doesn't run. He walks very slowly.
And there are times where I would say he's getting slightly closer to a speed walk, but not even. Like he's just real chilled. He doesn't say anything. He's just walking around with his mask and his trench coat with his knife, and he manages to just slaughter dozens, hundreds of people over a long period of time.
For someone who moves from the speed of meander to the speed of saunter and everything in between, that's impressive.
It's but yeah, so he has is that now, does she get Jean-Pierre is connecting to audio?
I need to just check on Mum.
Oh, okay. So so we've got JP connecting.
Hang up from here.
Hang up there. Nanny's getting a check on. JP's coming here, is still connecting to audio. Helen is still, your mum, you're still connected.
I know, I'm trying to disconnect.
This is what an exciting whirlwind of events. Halloween, the lights have gone out.
Oh.
All I'm saying is if you see a corpse at any stage, run and call the police. Do not dilly-dally.
But
neither dilly nor dally.
She does get out of the house though, which is good.
I was gonna say, is that where
she sees other friend in the cupboard?
No, but yeah, because does his other friend in the cupboard? He goes to stab her, misses from like this far away when no one's moving, and she gets like a cut on her arm.
Yeah, just to rip her shirt a little bit, because we've not really seen much of her flesh, because she's usually, she's wearing a longer skirt and the tights and all that stuff. So
like, all of a sudden this is amateur hour. Like she's not a moving target. You've come up, you've surprised her. You got a giant fucking knife, and all you managed to do is just like cut her from here to like here. Not real deep either. Michael.
What are you all about, mate?
But yeah, you're right. So she like later days out of the house, goes back to the other house, and you're right, because she's locked the door, she can't fucking get inside. She's calling for her boy that I think might be called Tommy. He's not listening, gets a pot plant and just chucks it at the bedroom window where he's sleeping. And
he's super drowsy, and she's like, you need to let me in because she can't get in.
And he's like, okay.
I have to admit, like, see, at this point, this was the first time, even though I've seen this a few times, I have a fear that your dad's going to go all Blair Witch Project on us or something, Sophie, with the camera going on.
You've, like, pretended there's a blackout is what's happening. Helen's going to run in with a fucking Michael Myers.
I know, are you?
Fake knife, and there's going to be like, like Mom will be making the sounds with her mouth, and then you are wearing fake blood capsules somewhere. This is how I'm perceiving the night to go.
Yeah. No, I think we're fine.
Okay, we can't hear Helen except for bits and pieces, and it was unclear. But yeah, so she's gone out, and so then
so this, as I say, this part of the film is where, even though I've seen it a few times, I was scared, or certainly tense, because
it's more tense. Yeah,
I think because you hate everyone else, really. Like, you do want her to do well, you do want her to get away. So I was like, this is really frustrating, watching someone where this guy is walking slowly at you. It's kind of like, when you've got slow zombies and there's only like one, and you're like, why are you not managing to get away from this? She's like, there is a dude coming after her with a big knife, but yeah, he's barely walking fast. But like,
yeah, because she runs to the other house and is like, let me the fuck in. And a person like peeks out of the blinds and is like, kids.
Yeah, it's Halloween tricks,
Exactly, yeah. And they runs in, and then so Tommy, like I think his name's Tommy, very sleepily comes down, like lets her inside. she scares the shit out of the children, but it's basically like, go upstairs and lock you in the room. And then it's like quite soon after that she stabs him in the neck with like a knitting needle, which I really enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's enjoyable.
Oh, good scene. Yeah.
And then he pulls it out, which is kind of equally as satisfying.
But the thing is, again, it's a frustrating moment because she stabbed him with a knitting needle, but then she just kind of leaves him. She doesn't check what's going on. She doesn't phone the police. She doesn't. Although I think actually no, the phone. She had tried to phone at some point, and the phone has been disconnected.
Yeah, the phone's fucked. And then it's that thing where she's just freaking out, and there's obviously an open window because like it's billowing or smashed or whatever.
He's definitely
she just freaks out near the couch and is just freaking out near the couch, and he just like very like slowly comes in, and she's like, I'm not doing anything, I'm just freaking out near the couch. Again, amateur hour. He goes to stab her, misses completely, and gets the couch. And it's like, Michael, you have shown that you're quite good at killing people up until now, and this is the you're here to kill this person, and you fucked it up twice in quick succession in a way that like I don't think there's any excuse for. So he stabs the couch, she like knitting needles his neck, doesn't he? And then falls out, and then she takes the knife as well. But yeah, as you said, Karen, just like on the ground. He's been.
I don't think she takes the knife though, because I'm sure there was a moment where again I was shouting at the TV again because I thought she stabs him and then she leaves.
I thought
no, she's really annoying.
I thought there's one bit where she picks it up. I don't know what she does with it, but I think I swear there's one bit where she just picks it up because she's all crying and she's just holding her knife, and there's a man with a knitting needle behind her.
Because I thought he then still had the knife when he's coming in.
He still has it. He does, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't take it, but she definitely.
I don't think so, because I think this was a moment like earlier on where I get really frustrated with someone opening a window. I was kind of like, why have you left someone that's trying to kill you with their weapon nearby and also your knitting needle, and you've gone, they're probably dead or whatever. I'm going to go and find the kids.
I had the same thing, but I was like, why didn't you stab him with that knife? Because I think she definitely picks it up. As I said, I don't know what she does with it after that, but it's like this bit where it's like, just go have another go. It's like, all you've done is knitting needled him in the neck. Like, this is not like a fatal wound. Just have a go with that knife and see what happens. But then she doesn't. And then she goes upstairs and she tells the kids that she's killed him and it's fine, as he's like lurching up the stairs at them. And then I feel like it's at this stage, so she tells the kids to go lock themselves in the room. She goes into a different room.
And goes in one of those slatted ward. Oh, I hate it.
Then I think like that, if I think of Halloween, to me, that is the iconic, how like, The Shining has the iconic scenes. Like, that's the Halloween one where you've got like Jamie Lee Curtis in the corner looking quite terrified. And you've got, it's just like a dumb cupboard and then just this kind of knife thing happening.
And it's like just waiting for someone to fashion a weapon out of a coat hanger. Like, that's what
right. And that's the thing. So he's like trying to stab his way in. He's clearly doing it effectively. She's like, well, maybe I need to defend myself. Like, jumps up, picks up a coat hanger, just like uncoat hangers it, and just like stabs at him. Then he drops his knife. Like, Michael, I can't.
Yeah.
He gets clumsy at the end, doesn't he?
He just gets real rubbish at hurting people at the end. And then so he drops the knife. And then
the doctor turns up?
Because Michael disappears for a bit.
No, doesn't she stab him again and run out?
Yeah, so she thinks she's killed him again. She She goes, finds the kids, tells them to run out of the house, but she stays in the house.
The mum brought up being like, you've taken like the kids. It's like, it's fine. I've killed him. What I need you to do is just run the fuck out of the house and go to like whatever house on the street and get them to call the police. Bye, children of age 8.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Into the darkness. And I'm just going to sit here having a bit of a panic attack while in the background. The man just like...
So implausible. Like, that is just nuts.
There was another good line there too, that the boy said, you can't kill the boogeyman. I thought that was nice.
He was right. And okay, again, so in the 70s question, would you send screaming children out into the street in the late 70s?
No.
No, you don't. It's not like 40s behavior.
Said children.
But the thing that's interesting, despite Halloween, the streets still remain fairly quiet and uninhabited by people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think we get one scene earlier on in the film where there's kids going trick or treat, give me something.
Yeah, for sure.
But like maybe 3 or 4 children. So for something that's a big thing like Halloween, it's like we actually don't have children.
It could be later on. Like you go trick or treating, but you wouldn't get to stay up particularly.
Don't eat that
late.
Because surely you do it kind of like at dusk. Like you're not going to be like children trick or treating in like the dark, right?
It's not going to be 11:30.
Yeah, and we've probably established like, because I think at some point maybe I made this up, but I think 9 p.m. was round about a bedtime kind of thing they decided. So it's probably after 9 p.m. because the kids have gone to bed.
Yeah.
So probably too late for trick or treating, but yeah, at no point really have we had that anyway, even with the kids sort of sitting about.
And then what we've missed in this is that Loomis has been lurking around Michael Myers' childhood home.
Oh, so good.
The bully kids go there and they're like, one dares one to go inside and he hears the kid's name. I can't remember what it is. And so like Loomis, creepy from the side, is just like, don't go inside. I was like, get out. So the kid runs away and then like the sheriff turns up again being like, hey mate, you all right? Like,
what are you doing?
What you doing?
Yeah, so anyway, so Loomis in this time has been doing his thing. He sees that he's been, I don't know, doing laps. He sees the car, being like, that's the fucking car that got stolen. They're around here. And then, yeah, like the sheriff comes, like at some stage, like joins him and there's like, look, you go that way, I'll go this way or something. And then it's when the kids run out of the house.
They run out screaming. So he hears them and it's like, well,
definitely they run out screaming and he's just like, what's going on in this house? And then, yeah, that's why we have, so Michael Myers does he does this thing. The problem is it becomes one of the most boring things is that every time you kill Michael Myers, he's never fucking dead, to the point where like there's a movie coming out today, I believe is when it came out, Halloween Kills, like the newest one in the franchise, where it's like 40 something fucking years later, this man is still, despite being killed a bunch of times in a bunch of movies, he's still not fucking dead. You can't, I don't know if you saw the last Halloween movie with like Jamie Lee Curtis in it, where it's like they fucking trap him in it. So Jamie Lee Curtis turns into this batshit crazy person because she's being stalked her entire life by this guy. She traps him. She makes a house that is a booby trap, traps him in a basement with like this, so like lures him down there, and she's got this thing with it's like this cage that slams shut, so you can't get out of it. And she sets fire to the fucking house. So the entire house with this man trapped inside is burnt the fuck down. And apparently he's still alive. Anyway, it's just anyway, so basically, so he gets up and goes for like Jamie Lee Curtis again. And it's at that stage that Loomis he's got a gun. He comes with a gun
and he shoots him.
Yeah, that's right. And that modern psychiatric tool, the gun, the handgun.
But he's really good because at least he shoots him, and then he shoots him again, and he shoots him a bunch more fucking times.
And he falls out. Does he not fall out the window?
The window. But it's like I appreciate at least Loomis's commitment to killing him, because he's like, shoot him. Just make sure this motherfucking guy is dead because he's terrible.
Because he's evil.
And then he says something really weird, because Jamie Lee Curtis says, no, what I heard her say was, "What's the boogeyman?"
I heard her say it was the boogeyman.
Okay. Okay.
I heard her say it was the boogeyman, and he turns around and goes like, yes, it was, or something.
As a matter of fact, that was.
Yes. Yeah. And then of course then we cut to him walking over, looking out of the window at the corpse of Michael Myers, who isn't fucking there, because he's never there ever again whenever you think you've killed him at the end of a Halloween movie.
And then you get the din 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 din, the fun music.
And I was going to say that's perfect timing for some more staccato piano music.
Yes.
And now I realize a lot of things I've said about this movie is negative, but I fucking love this movie. And as I said, I think it's just because I don't love this movie. I just love everything about Jamie Lee Curtis so aggressively that I don't even mind that the rest of it is awful, because I love her. So in my head, like, Halloween is a great movie, but it's not. I know it's not, but I just love it so much.
So I can't decide if it's maybe because I watched it again. So I've maybe only seen it 3-4 times. But obviously I watched it quite recently. But I do not like this film. I find it quite boring. I find even though it's got a lot of things that appeal to me for a horror film, like it's practically my 90-minute thing.
I was going to be like, it's got to be almost spot on, like an hour and a half.
But the problem is, it's like it feels too long. But there are some things I like about it, and I think that's Jamie Lee Curtis, really. Maybe the music. I think Jamie Lee Curtis does a really good job, but I think
I like Loomis. I just like the fact that this man has been stressed for so long, and it's just going to be stressed until the time of his death in the later movie in the franchise. But I love Loomis. But I
don't love Loomis. I think that's why I think Loomis makes me laugh. Loomis is too much. He's too much of a caricature, and he makes me laugh. So I think the thing that I like about the film is that I do care that Jamie Lee Curtis lives. So I think that's quite good. That does get me tense.
Still alive. Good news.
But no, I don't really want to watch this film again. And I think it's really funny that there have been, I think what we're looking at, 11 films in the franchise or something. I think it's interesting that it's done so well. And I think, like you said earlier, I think part of the problem may be that, I've seen slasher films since and whatnot. And I think it has maybe done something and created this sort of, or tried to be part of this genre, or created something that people have followed. But I just, as a film in itself, don't really like it.
Yeah, it's terrible. I love it.
Well, I'm a bit torn, I suppose, because I think it's almost like a fun film, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the music. I thought that was good. I like the detective character. It's not quite the same, but he was a bit almost
the sheriff.
Like Inspector Clouseau to me. He kept popping up and was almost slightly comical occasionally.
Oh yeah.
I
saw a kid who is pure evil, and it did something strange to my cadence.
Well, I agree. I think Jamie Lee Curtis was the best part, because there was a lot of, almost wooden actors. And also the sheriff, it was almost like a stage play. It came out from the curtains, like he was never there, and then suddenly he was there in the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you like it, Helen, JP? Did you?
Well, because I'm not good at horror movies, and so it was quite good because it wasn't terribly scary.
It wasn't.
But also, I didn't like the bits, when. That's what I talk about horror movies, and I have not watched that many, obviously, but the implausibility of some of the things, like, why is it always in the dark? What, just some of those illogical things. Just think, why? Like, why would you do these things?
I have some fun answers for some of that, because, I like to read up the nonsense around some of these films. And one of the things I found with the fact it was so much, so this was one of the things I do quite like this film too, was it's super, super low budget independent film when it was made. And apparently it was so low budget. It was something like, I think, like $300,000 to make, but made $47 million in the box office. So it's like one of the lowest budgets, but biggest earning films. But apparently because their budget was so low, they couldn't actually afford to light some areas. So again, like JP, we were talking last week with Psycho, with the choice of black and white. I think some of the dark scenes in this were just because they couldn't afford lighting at times. So again, it adds that edge of that scariness, just as you two are quite scary right now.
Yeah, you two are.
Because your electricity's off.
Like it's beautifully moody, but like a little bit like I'm just waiting for something terrible to happen in this particular.
You're going to come from behind us and strangle us, or?
We'll let you know if there's a murderer coming up behind you. But to be honest, I know where you are, and you'll see them before we do, because that wall.
I don't know if you've commented on, but I did remark to Jean-Pierre last night. The knives are always clean. Like, you going around being a maniac, would you not just leave the blood? Who cares?
I was even thinking that, in the first scene with like child Michael Myers, and he's holding his knife that's just stabbed the sister, and I was actually I was staring at the screen looking for the blood, and it's like it looks like there's just like a slight blemish on the steel, like even then. So we've just seen him just like stab the shit out of his sister. He's obviously like a little bit like dazed. He's walking out with his knife. I don't think he's cleaned it. And like, it's just, even then, like it doesn't look like anything has happened to this knife.
Yeah, so obviously there was a low budget for the fake blood as well.
But yeah, all the knives are shiny.
Syrup, a bit of cocoa, a little bit of blue food coloring, and then your red food coloring. And that is some sensational fake blood. John Carpenter, 1978, if you needed to know.
I think what's quite nice about this film, given we watched Psycho last week, was apparently, so Psycho, of course, would have been an inspiration for this film. That was one of the reasons they wanted to make it. It was also apparently one of the reasons that John Carpenter was particularly keen to cast Jamie Lee Curtis, because Psycho was such an inspiration for this film. And the other one that you would, apparently, so it was Psycho was an inspiration, as well as, is it Black Christmas that you like?
Oh, Black Christmas!
So those were the two inspirations for this. And as I say, so I think it's nice because it ties into some of the other horrors, and even the fact that there was the Thing, well, not quite your thing, but the Thing reference and the tie with John Carpenter. Yeah. Also, the other thing I think with this, like, with The Shining, you know kind of what's going to happen in this film from the start, so you're just waiting for it to happen. So just as in The Shining, at the start of the film, you're told, oh, by the way, it's likely you're going to come to this hotel and then kill your whole family.
So crazy.
It's the same with this. You're just waiting for everyone to die. Yeah. So I was seeing some nice links to most of her films, but I think of everything we watched this month, this has absolutely been my least favorite.
But I feel like you, at no stage did you ever say Event Horizon in that, Karen. So I just feel like I've been rejected a little bit.
I'm trying really hard to find
it. Everyone's tied in except for Event Horizon. So
I can't quite find my Event Horizon link into all of this.
I don't think there is.
But the other thing that I think I really liked when I was reading about this, so it's probably an IMDb, but John Carpenter and Deborah Hill have stated many times over the years that they did not consciously set out to depict virginity as a way of defeating a rampaging killer. The reason why the horny teens all die is simply that they are so preoccupied with getting laid that they don't notice there's a killer at large. On the other hand, Laurie spends a lot of time on her own and is therefore more alert. Just so we're all clear, it's not because of sex, okay?
Yeah, okay. Now, do you want your spoiler as to why he was going after Laurie?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to watch another Helen film for some time.
To be honest, last night when I finished watching this one, I was like, maybe I'll just start on Halloween 2, and I went, walk away, Sophie. They get worse, like horrifically. So what happens is that, so you got the parents, you got the son in the crazy house and the eldest daughter dead. They have another child who is Laurie, right? And then they die in a car accident when she's about 2. So she gets adopted out. But what they do is they like change her name, and like all of her records are like under lock and key. So theoretically, so basically Laurie is Michael Myers' younger sister, but he shouldn't know that. So the whole thing is, it's like, it's like he killed the sister, the parents died of their own volition in a car accident, and now it's like he's come to like kill, basically he's killing his other sister. But like that doesn't, I think that actually gets revealed in the second. I feel like near the beginning of the second movie, it's like Laurie's in hospital because obviously all this shit has happened, and then she says to like Loomis, like, why me? And they like work out it's because he's actually had the younger sister, because she didn't know she was adopted or anything, and that's all a bit. And she gets.
So he does this coincidentally, or
sorry.
So he does this coincidentally.
Well, no, but it's kind of that thing where it's like he's been in a crazy house since he was 6, but he knows how to drive a car. In the same way that he knows that Laurie is I mean, like, granted, like I haven't watched the other ones for a while, but from memory, like that was, I can't remember how he finds this out, but Laurie is the younger sister, and that's why he's gone for her specifically, as opposed to, because I feel like the way that it was set up, it could have just been like, he's lurking in his childhood home, and this fucking person puts keys under the mat, and I hate her. Like, it could have
I genuinely thought it was just that he was a bit, like, looking out for teenage girls, and this teenage girl was the first that he encountered because she left the keys there, and that's why he was like, I'm gonna follow this. Like, that was fine for me. I'm going with that. Like,
no, it turns out there's a fact, and like, as I said, I haven't seen the old sequels. I have not seen for like a while. My favorite sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, so I would just say that sort of rang a possible bell for me too, because when you look at all the young women that he killed, they're all sort of, showing breasts at some point in time. It almost seemed like, it might have been teenage girls.
No, it could have been. I was going to say my favorite in the franchise is, I believe it's called Halloween H2O, and it's the one where Laurie Strode's child is Josh Hartnett. And what happens is, so she's crazy and she's paranoid about Halloween, and he's gone to like she's a principal at some prestigious like wanky school in the US, and he's there, and then they're all meant to go away for like the weekend, but then he sneaks back into the school with his girlfriend and some other people and she's like, it's fine because they've gone like well away from here, it's fine. But then it's like it's Halloween, and like Michael Myers comes back and tries to kill Josh Hartnett and all of his friends, and then like Jamie Lee Curtis has to come back. I feel like that one I remember watching with, I want to say, Amy Conlon Laird.
How old were you?
We would have I think we managed to. I don't think I was a teenager when I saw it. I think I was like at the end of primary school. I think we were about 12. It was like either a Lenny or Amy or someone. And I remember watching it on like the green couch with the fold out sofa that was in the lounge room for a while. And that was folded out because someone was sleeping over, and we watched Halloween H2O.
Where did you get it from?
I guess video shop. Like we didn't own it.
Or was it on TV? Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I think we got it from the video shop.
Yes.
But
yeah, I don't think I've seen any others other than this one.
Yeah, that one it was the worst in the most amazing way, to the point that I might watch it tonight.
Look, I actually think the one thing as well with this film is that it's something that you could probably throw on at like a teenage sleepover or whatever, and just kind of have on in the background, and then every now and then get a fright. But like, it's not really a film that you need to pay attention to.
Do you know what bugs me? Do you know what bugs me about it, and about that explanation for why he goes after Laurie? Like, there's that. So it becomes this thing of like, oh, there's an unpleasant man, and he does these really unpleasant things, and why does he do them? And it's kind of about exploring the psychology of that. But that for me is kind of ruined by the kind of fact that it's kind of ambiguously supernatural as well, by the fact that he just can't be killed. So there's like this, so is he a ghost or some kind of entity? And it's not clear, in which case I don't care about his psychology, really.
Even though you're right, and as I said, it becomes like a very frustrating, like, it's almost like a trope in all these fucking movies where it's like, it doesn't matter how much you kill him, he's not dead. Like, you can kill him you can fucking shoot him, and you can like stab him, and you can axe him, and you can set fire to him, and this fucking guy just doesn't die. And it just becomes this thing where it's like, so as I said, I'm gonna go see Halloween Kills tomorrow. No, what day is it tomorrow? Friday. I'm gonna see it on Saturday, and it's just like, I bet you he's not gonna fucking die again. Like, it just he just doesn't ever die for no reason. You're no reason.
Whereas I think like someone heavy breathing behind a hedge who's mortal can be perfectly scary.
Yeah.
Like, that can be perfectly fucking scary if you do it in the right way. So he doesn't need to be immortal for this to work. So why is he immortal?
Yeah.
That's what you get to the stage of you're saying almost, oh, not Mike Myers again.
Yeah.
But anyway, they've done very well out of it, and good on them. And you know, good for Jamie Lee Curtis.
So is she in all of them?
She's in most of them. She's not in all of them. I mean, as I said, like, there's about 12,000 movies in this franchise. She's in, because some of them as well have been like, there was one that came out a few years ago. I reckon I saw it in Sydney, and it was like a prequel. So it was, you know, so there's been, you know, so even though it's part of the franchise, like, there, you know, it's kind of like before Michael Myers lost his shit and killed everyone. I think the last scene in the movie is like him going to kill Judith or whatever. But I think like Jamie Lee Curtis has been in a bunch of them, but I think there's also, but not like, definitely not all of them, I don't think. Let me have a look.
So what is her character like as an adult though? She screwed up and...
Yeah, she's completely fucked in the head. So the whole issue is...
Have a normal... Well, so she's in care? Is she in the psychiatric?
No, she's not in care. So the issue is like in the later one. So her daughter is, you know, the person who plays Kitty in Arrested Development, whose name I always forget.
Yeah.
Who does like serious and funny movies. So she's, so I said the most recent one, the one that hasn't come out today, the one from like a year ago or 2 years ago. So yeah, there's this whole thing where like that, you know, so Jamie Lee Curtis has kids. I don't know what happened to Josh Hartnett. Like, he didn't die in the movie, but he's not ever spoken of ever again. and they're all like, yeah, she's just, you know, she's just paranoid, like she's just like, you know, so because fucking Laurie for the whole time is like, he's gonna fucking come and get me. It doesn't matter that you've caught him and like locked him up again. He's gonna fucking get out. He's gonna come and get me. And like when he gets me out. So she's like, her entire life, she's obsessed with this idea that this person is gonna come and kill her, because like clearly that's what he wants to do and he never dies. So like, I don't think she's wrong. So like, I think, yeah, the idea is like, it does ruin a bunch of her relationships. And so as I said, the end of the last movie, it's kind of like the granddaughter believed her, the mother and the husband thought she was like nuts. Turns out that he fucking gets out, he comes to get them. Like the mother finally believes her, like they kill him in the house that they set fire to him in. He doesn't fucking die. And then somehow there's like a sequel. So something is happening where basically, I presume it's exactly the same movie where like he's not dead and we thought he was dead and he's coming to get them, and then like they're gonna kill him, and then like, you know, you cut to the last scene and he's walked away again. Like I don't know.
Well, look, I hope you enjoy it, Sophie. I probably won't see it, but you know, it was nice to watch Halloween for Halloween. And,
just very quickly, so she's been in Halloween. She was in Halloween 2, which I remember. Halloween 3, which is also called Season of the Witch, which I don't remember that well. And then Halloween H2O, and then Halloween Resurrection. She was in that one. And then Halloween. And then, so Halloween was the last one, even though it was new and it's called the same thing as Halloween. It's not a remake. Halloween Kills. And the thing that I have just discovered.
There's one next year too.
2022 is called Halloween Ends. So I don't know, maybe next year, Michael.
I don't believe it. But anyway, let us know how that one goes. But yeah.
Well, it's Halloween.
Yeah, thanks.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, it's an awful movie, but I just love Jamie Lee Curtis so much that I think I can look past it for the first one. And then, but to be honest, like if I'm going to be like honest, the second one and onwards they're just the worst.
Okay.
I can't excuse it as much, but I think this one, it's just like, it's like the first one, it's like Jamie Lee's like first like acting role. She's got a great voice, she does a really good job, everyone else is rubbish. You got the music. I think all of those things together, I go like, this is a great movie, but I'm aware that objectively it's not a good movie, so don't worry.
And it wasn't too scary.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, as I said, I was like, it was very good. That was a good one for you to come in on.
I did gasp at a few points.
I thought that maybe you did react as the directors and the writers would want you to at all the right.
I've been proud of me at times, as you always expect me to.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, team.